with big questions about the future of immigration policy in this country as we prepare to bear down on some pretty important debates when it comes to border security. What about the other side of the story? When we talk about comprehensive immigration reform, it does include things like actual legal immigration, work visas, even dreamers, as they're called. The deal that was struck in the Senate that never did become law earlier this year didn't acknowledge any of them. And now we've got a serious debate underway, certainly on social media, involving Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, and the MAGA world when it comes to the use of work visas, which both Musk and Ramaswamy would like to see enhanced, reformed, and a move that could be at odds with Donald Trump's approach, or the so-called MAGA approach to border security and immigration. That's where we start with our signature panel. Joining us this Friday, Rick Davis and Jeannie Shanzano, Bloomberg Politics contributors. She is political science professor at Iona University. Rick is partner at Stone Court Capital, our Democrat and Republican, respectively. It's great to see you both. Happy Friday. Welcome back to Bloomberg TV and radio. Rick, I want to start with you here, knowing how much time you spent working in the aim to find comprehensive immigration reform in your time spent in the U.S. Senate with John McCain. Of course, we went through this again with George Bush. And we talked about this over the course of this last year, that we were only getting to one part of the story here, and that's border security. This is a messy debate underway right now, and frankly, there's some pretty off-color and racist commentary on social media that we don't need to get into on this program, but I wonder if there's a silver lining in that it expands the debate over immigration to include a lot more people. Rick, what do you think?
Yeah, it sure sounds like we're headed to a comprehensive immigration reform proposal from the Trump administration, shocking as it may be. And I think we've, exposed the underbelly of this whole debate. I mean, it was very simple all during the campaign, just to talk about the border, lock down the border needs to be secure. Right. And, 60, 70% of the American public agreed with that. Now we're starting to see all kinds of other related issues, which includes dreamers. We had a conversation about that earlier in the week and what's happening with them, and detention facilities. But now we've hit probably the biggest return on investment for any immigration plan you could have, which is H-1Bs. 38,000 smart people who come to the United States in various capacities. It's not just tech, who create a lot of value for our country. And an overwhelming large number of them become citizens. So it's amazing to me that nobody thought this was going to be an issue when you had the tech bros come into the aid of the Trump campaign with money and technology, and didn't think that they weren't going to have this number one thing on their platter.
Can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. Jeannie, knowing, of course, that we wouldn't have Elon Musk likely in the U.S. if it weren't for the H-1B program. I believe Jensen Huang, the force behind NVIDIA, same claim. Vivek Ramaswamy tweets, "Normalcy doesn't cut it in hyper-competitive global market for technical talent. And if we pretend like it does, we'll have our blank handed to us by China." Is he right?
Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, and quite frankly, Donald Trump on the campaign trail on this issue are absolutely right. I loved the fact, by the way, that Vivek Ramaswamy decided to venture into things like Boy Meets World and Urkel and, Saved by the Bell. I don't know how many people remember these shows, but, he went to that cultural area. And the problem for Donald Trump is he spent this campaign talking about, in the most dehumanizing language you can imagine, the fact that immigrants, illegal, legal, and otherwise, because he never differentiated, are destroying our way of life and are taking American jobs. I just pulled 3 quotes where he talks about immigrants taking Black and Hispanic jobs. So now he finds himself trying to do the bidding of these tech bros and his friends who subsidize his campaign and are subsidizing his inauguration. And they are absolutely right on this point. But you can't have it both ways. And this is the problem that Donald Trump has. And he's going to have a really difficult time backtracking from the many, many horrific things he said on the campaign trail, which the base took very seriously, apparently.
Well, I don't know what people think we've been doing this whole time. This has been a critical component to developing world-class technology in Silicon Valley. It's how we got to space. If you want to go back and read the right stuff, we can go through that all over again. Rick, Elon Musk puts on Twitter here, thinking of America, he's got this figured out with the sports analogy. Thinking of America as a pro sports team that has been winning for a long time and wants to keep winning is the right mental construct. Do you think he's actually winning people over with this argument right now, or could border security now be at risk because of this?
No, if you put it in purely political terms, I mean, he's defining himself, right? He is picking fights with everybody, whether he even thinks he's picking a fight. He thinks it's just good policy to go out there and do this. He's trying to explain it. He's taken on every comer. I mean, getting in to a argument online with Laura Loomer. I mean, the most inexperienced political professional knows you don't get into fights in public with, people like her. She's a crackpot. She's a racist, and yet he seems to give her elevation when he addresses it. So, I think that Elon Musk is going to learn the hard way in his experience in Washington as a public servant now, and maybe to just hold his fire on a few things. I mean, I'm sure by New Year's we'll be talking about the big argument between Elon Musk and Robert Kennedy over Ozempic. I mean, how many of these fronts is he going to really open up with his own team?
Well, boy, do you bring us to an interesting place here, Jeannie. We all remember what it was like in the first Trump administration. News by tweet, firing by tweet, hiring by tweet. You'd wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, there'd be news. Everyone's running into the newsroom. Now we're going to have a whole other one with Elon Musk. And if you take a look, I don't know how many tweets he sent last night over the course of this whole debate here, but it was a firestorm. I don't know who's going to out-tweet each other, but could we have twice the confusion in the next Trump administration?
Oh, absolutely. I am expecting it. I don't think the man sleeps. Between him and Donald Trump, they go pretty much all night on Twitter and Truth Social. But the reality is the facts are on Elon Musk's side on this particular issue. That said, good luck making that case to the base. Their argument is very clear. We want immigration shut down in this country. We do not accept carve-outs, even for the best and brightest. And Donald Trump is going to have to make a decision. He wants to ensure that the economy is strong and that grocery prices are down. He needs immigrants. He needs the best and the brightest. He knows that. And yet he is playing to a base that is not going to accept that. And that is going to be the conundrum for him, not to mention the amount of money he has taken from the tech sector to get where he is today in his second term.